Welcome to the Poisoner's Cabinet. I'm Sinead.
And I'm Nick.
And this is your weekly podcast looking at the lives of the great poisoners and poisoning cases from across the centuries and creating curious cocktails inspired by the tales that we tell. And it's episode 9.
Number 9. How very exciting.
9. So close to 10.
So close to 10. Then we can stop. We finished.
Then that's it. There's nothing after
That's
this.
it. No more. I'm out of contract.
Maybe we should do on episode 10, maybe we should do a special on something. I'm thinking we should
I think we probably should do something. I'm thinking some sort of party poppers and a fancy hat.
the arsenic hat.
The arsenic hat. I'm going to make it this
You'll
time.
have an arsenic hat. I'll have an arsenic bra. It'll be marvellous.
Oh, yay for video cams.
No one will see the bra, but you'll know it's there. Yeah, we're going to try and do something special for episode 10. Thank you so much for sticking with us. So we'll let you know what that is in the coming weeks. How are you, Nick?
Yes, bumbling along.
Bumbling along.
Bumbling along on lockdown.
Crazy lockdown down.
Crazy lockdown times.
Any poisonings this week?
Not as of yet. Not yet. It's early days.
But soon.
Well, no, I'm hoping not. I mean, I only live with one other person, so I'm hoping no poisonings at all.
Well, there used to be 3 people there, but we don't talk about them. So, we have got a great story to share today. We have some great drinks to mix up for you. So, Nick, are you ready to drink cocktails and talk about poison?
Always.
Or drink poison and talk about cocktails?
No, not today. You have escaped one more week.
Oh, thank God. So, this week, before we get onto our story, we as ever have our secret ingredient that we revealed on social media earlier this week. The secret ingredient is taken from the tales that we're going to tell, and it's going to inspire the drinks that we make and enjoy while we're chatting to you today. We encourage you to mix up a drink as well while you're listening, even if it's 10 in the morning. Just do it. It's lockdown. Who cares? No one can see you.
Exactly.
Just do it. Make those video conference calls interesting. Just stagger around drunk for our amusement. Send us pictures.
Do it.
So, the secret ingredient this week that I chose for Nick is a feather.
Yes, a feather. Interesting choice.
I'm sorry. So this was an interesting one because the story, as will become obvious soon, actually had 2 secret ingredients.
You did, and I failed miserably on the first one.
We both thought the first one wouldn't be possible. We're both in isolation. Nick's amazing cocktail cabinet is in his house and I can't get to it, but he has every kind of ingredient you can think of except for this other ingredient, which we'll reveal shortly. We did look and we tried and we thought, nah, it's not going to work.
There's some interesting ones out there, but just not with what I have in the house.
So instead, I went for another ingredient that's key to the story, and it was a feather. And I know it's crazy. It's not necessarily an ingredient, but I thought it might inspire something.
See, I got a lot of flack for last time I did cocktail inspiration. Oh, there was an uproar. But you do it, and it's fine.
That was early days, and I knew so little then. But now I've changed my ways. I can learn. I'm reformed. I'm a reformed bitch. So, with my curveball of a feather, what'd you come up with, Nick?
Well, we did have a couple of options, but I've gone with a cocktail called a black feather.
A black feather. You see, that's perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah, when I was investigating, I thought, ooh, perfect. I remain unconvinced by the list of ingredients, but it's a new one on me. I've not heard of it before, so we'll find out.
Well, we have a secret second ingredient. This is all hinges on the fact of whether or not I can actually make the cocktail it's based on. If not, then God knows what's going to happen after our cocktail break. But we are both going to go into our isolation kitchens, shake up a storm, and we will be back with you very shortly with our delicious drinks. See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
And we're back.
Hello.
So, Nick, what have you mixed up for us? You've got a black feather.
I've got a black feather.
And what is in a black
I'm going to try it first.
Okay, you're going to try it first.
I'm going to try it first because I'm slightly terrified.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, that's actually really not very nice.
We're actually filming and I can see Nick on the camera and he does not look pleased at all.
No. Oh, no, that's horrible.
Oh, no. So what is in a black feather, Craig?
Well, in a black feather, we have cognac, triple sec, vermouth, an extra dry vermouth, and a dash of bitters.
It doesn't sound great.
Yeah, see, I'm not a fan of brandy as it is.
Near.
What may not have helped is this has been brandy that's been sat in the back of my cupboard since God knows when.
But it's aged, surely.
At least minimum 4 or 5 years since this has been last looked at, so...
Yes, because you only ever want fresh brandy, yes.
So,
pressed straight from the... Where the fuck does brandy come from, actually?
I'm going in for a second.
Second sipper. Okay, is it second sipper?
No, it's really not.
Oh my god. Oh, is this the first disaster we've had?
This is the first cocktail. I cannot even finish that.
Hell has indeed frozen over.
My god.
Light the beacons! Well, so Nick made the black feather. But
Don't ever do it.
Don't do it. But we have a backup in my house because there were 2 ingredients. We went with feather in the end because the original secret ingredient was going to be mushrooms. Equally tricky for a cocktail.
There are some interesting ones out there, but it's just you need either dried mushrooms or truffle, of which neither of which I have.
Of all the things in Nick's cupboard, truffle and mushrooms were the one thing he did not possess.
Yep.
But I went out fully intending to make the black feather, but then stumbled across a recipe called the truffle sour that required several things that I did have in the house and truffle oil. Truffle oil, very chic at the moment, very chic. Everyone puts it on their chips. So I have made a truffle sour, which requires vodka, Amaro a weird liqueur. Amaro Montenegro, which is a sort of a liqueur, Italian liqueur with herbs and spices. It's sort of a weird thing.
Bitter vermouth, red vermouth, herbal type concoction.
Lemon juice, a little bit of sugar, dash of truffle oil, ice, and egg white. Now, we like an egg white cocktail. So I thought I'd give it a go. I did not have the special Montenegro liqueur. What I did have in the drawer is Unicum. Yes, people, there really is a liqueur out there called Unicum. It is from Hungary. It is the sort of thing that you buy on a stag do or on a trip, and then your mates force you to down shots of it, and then you get very sick and have a terrible hangover. But it's sort of like a cross between a Jägermeister.
Thing is, it's a digestif. It's a herbal bitter liqueur, much like Jägermeister, but from Hungary rather than Germany.
Exactly. So I had some of this in the cupboard. I thought, you know what, we'll knock it up. We'll give it a go. It's here. It's settled. It looks beautiful. Going in for a sip, people. Against all odds, that is not bad.
Can you taste the truffle?
It's not bad. Yes, I can taste the truffle. It's like literally 5 mils of truffle oil, because truffle has got such a distinct pungent taste. I've mixed this up, and you have to do the double mix, and you have to strain it and everything, but the egg whites give it that lovely mouthfeel that we've talked about. I'm going for a second sip. It's an odd one. Probably wouldn't stay in my repertoire.
It's not an everyday cocktail.
It's not an everyday cocktail, but the truffle oil and again the Unicum, which you would never choose to drink normally on its own, but they're tiny, tiny quantities in with the lemon juice and the sugar and the egg white and the vodka, which always works. Perfectly acceptable. Perfectly acceptable. So, a truffle
cocktail
thingy. What the fuck is it called? A truffle sour.
Truffle sour.
A new one. So mushrooms win this one. Feathers don't.
Feathers certainly not. So.
And sorry, everybody. But anyway, we have our individual cocktails in hand. Nick will be slipping away from the microphone soon to get a bottle of wine, I think.
I knocked up a spare cocktail. While I was making that, I made up an emergency backup, which I'm now quite happy cocktail? With. Red Hook.
A Red Hook?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, you know what? We don't have time for a third one, but bring it to another episode. So Nick's got his emergency cocktail. I have my quite lovely cocktail, and so we are ready for a story. Are you ready for a story, Nick?
Oh, what a story. Tell me a story.
Let's tell you a story. We're going back. We're going way back. Way.
Pre-Victorian.
Way back. Pre-Victorian. Keep going.
What was there before then?
Nothing.
Nothing.
There was nothing but dust. No, we're back before the Victorians, back before the Elizabethan era, back before the Middle Ages. Guys, we are going back to a time where the foundations of Western civilization were carved in marble. The progressive, trend-setting, blood-soaked, filth-strewn, aqueduct-arching Roman Empire. Da, da, da.
How long did it take you to write that?
Most of the day.
It sounded very impressive.
Exactly. All the other research was shit after this. It was just
downhill from now on.
Downhill. It's just words like that. People died. There we are. We are going to talk today, tell you the tale of the world's first ever reported serial killer and the woman who paid her bills. It is the story of the deadly Lady Locusta and the Empress Agrippina the Younger. 2 women bound in their bloody deeds. So Locusta, a woman lately condemned as a dealer in the clandestine practices, but reserved amongst the instruments of state to serve the purposes of dark ambition.
Very dramatic.
Yes.
This is a good story, this one.
How's your Roman history knowledge, Nick?
She was,
Don't tell me that. Don't say that now. I'm building up to that. Bloody hell.
Actually, I know a bit about this one.
I didn't say, what do you know about Locusta? I said, what's your knowledge of Roman history like? Trying to take people on a journey. Oh, Jesus. As you know, we always do as much research as possible for the show. This is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant part of history to jump into. Most of us will have studied classics at school. You'll have dabbled a little bit in Roman history. You'll have seen a film. You'll have seen a TV show. You will have indeed probably seen Monty Python. I personally drank red wine and watched Life of Brian last night as research. But it's a very meaty chunk of history, and obviously you can build degrees out of this. But trust me, jump down the Poison Wiki hole to explore some of the stories of this time, and there are some absolute belters. So this was huge fun to research. Sources from this week range from all over, but a lot of what you're going to hear is based on the works of the historians of the time. Tacitus, Suetonius, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Suetonius is the historian. If you're basing all your knowledge on Claudius, then you're in for a shock, because that wasn't necessarily historically accurate. But yes, we're going to step back into a time that is steeped in murder, intrigue, and the most inventive of torments. Picture the scene. 1st century Rome.
It's lovely.
Oh, it's a dime. Can you picture the streets?
You're getting really into this.
Yes, I'm trying to build a bloody picture. Come with
it's working.
Me. You're just sitting there stubbornly in the 21st century with your shitty cocktail going, no, not going. Just drink more. Come on, come on. We're in the streets of Rome. Oh, it's a wonderful place. Of course, you have the sewers. You have all of the wonderful inventions of the Romans. Public sanitation, irrigation, to remove waste from the homes. It's not so much with the street cleaning, though. So you've got to picture a lot of waste on the street and dead bodies and dogs carrying around people's arms. And of course, you have the empire trying to uphold the law while everyone is basically trying to kill each other if they even vaguely come to approaching stealing your power. So there's going to be a lot of violence and torture and dastardly deeds in this tale. So Locusta was the first professional poisoner that we know of. She's named as the first serial killer because, well, she's known as the first person who professionally killed a lot of people. She's said to come from Gaul, born either at the end of the reign of Augustus or the beginning of Tiberius. So we all know that's around 14 AD, don't we? Yes.
Absolutely.
Had to look that up.
Definitely know that one.
Gaul, lovely place, Gaul. Do you know where Gaul is?
France.
It covered France, Belgium, Luxembourg, most of Switzerland, bits of Italy, Germany, Netherlands. So it's everywhere, basically. Inhabited by the Celts originally, but then the Romans screwed that up for us. We don't know about Locusta's family. We don't know how she was raised, what their profession was, what her background was, but we can assume that she was a free woman and that she was intelligent. As a child, reportedly studied the plants and the herbs that grew around her home. She was interested in these and she began to experiment with their uses, learned from the folklore that was passed along to her and the old wives' tales and remedies that would have been passed from mother to daughter, from grandmother to child, all across this century, in whispered and hushed voices. Put this on your face.
Put this on your face. Is that what they said to each other?
Yes.
In little wooden huts.
That's pretty much it.
Just throwing plants at each other's face.
It was a simpler time.
What are you going to do to pass the time?
So she learnt her trade in Gaul and she would arrive in Rome in her 20s during the reign of Claudius. And there, when she reached the city, her reputation grew. Among the higher classes, her reputation as a supreme poisoner, someone who knew the arts and knew the ways of the herbs and medicines very, very well. As I said, this wasn't a lawless time in the Roman Empire. Of course not. No, you could be arrested, you could be imprisoned, you could be tried. But this was certainly a time where higher classes and noblemen certainly found a lot of enemies they maybe wanted to dispatch and get out of their way, and they needed some assistance. Locusta obviously had a way with her poisons, and she found herself very much in demand when she was in Rome. She was so popular, she was arrested and imprisoned several times, reportedly on counts of poisoning and child murder.
Fun.
Fun.
It's pastime. It's something to do.
In the Roman times.
When you're not out there poisoning.
Oh, it's taken a dark turn, hasn't it? It's just the cocktail's gotten to you, hasn't it? Kill children, I hate this.
I hate this cocktail.
Okay. But as her clients were all wealthy, she was always released. Her freedom was brought back and she was able to continue practicing her art. It makes you think that her skills must have been really highly sought after, and there weren't many other people out there like her because she kept getting free. She was free to continue her art, And news of her practices would reach even higher places than the nobleman.
Well, she obviously she knew who had hired her, so she could probably, if it came to it, people would want to see her free rather than talk. So if someone's hired her to go and kill their rival or whatever, and then she gets caught, those people are going to try and they'll do their utmost to get her free so she doesn't go, it was them who hired me, it was.
Well, gossip is a trade, obviously, at the time, and people's testimonies could be used. But I think it was more that her skill, it was in demand, and there were few and far between poisoners of the time. As we said, this is the first recorded serial killer. So, we move now to the palace, 54 AD.
It's a delightful place.
Oh, it's a lovely place.
It's a lovely place.
Such a lovely place, such a lovely place. Lots of Vestal virgins wandering around going, I don't know what we do.
Tending fires and things. Isn't that what they did?
Well, sacred fires, yes. They didn't just stoke the fire.
I just mean that the hearths, sort of.
So we're sweeping a lot of ash out.
Oh, it's a bit chilly. Get those Vestal virgins in.
Have them turn down the beds, and then go away. Exactly. Horrible virgins. So the Vestal virgins are doing basic housework, while Emperor Claudius lies on his couch. 65 years old he is around now. Quaffs another large glass of hot wine, is his wont. He is an elderly man now by any standards, reaching his 60s in the Roman Empire. Bloody hell.
Pretty good going.
That's an achievement. I mean, as an emperor, you would be looked after. But given that the average life expectancy around the time was 25, you were lucky if you got past 10.
Yeah, that's 65. That's not
He's
bad.
He's done all right.
It's time for him to go, surely. He's too old now.
He's so old. Claudius has always been pretty sickly, but he's had a good reign. You know, it was a bit of a struggle for him to get to the top. He was always seen as weak and trembling in his youth. Intelligent, but not really suitable for higher office. But he remained at the periphery of his uncle Tiberius's council during his reign, and he was even closer to his nephew, the infamous Caligula. We've all heard of Caligula, haven't we?
Know him.
Mental. And when Caligula was assassinated in 41 AD, Claudius, who was said to have fled and trembled behind a curtain when the assassins came for Caligula, was hailed as the new emperor because a lot of people thought, Claudius, he's a bit sickly, he's a bit simple, we can manipulate him. But once Caligula was out of the way, Claudius's ailments quickly improved.
Was it all a ruse?
Some say that it was.
Ah, clever man.
He was playing a game, he would cough and he would splutter. There are some people who thought he actually had a disability, that he might have had cerebral palsy or Tourette's. But once he became powerful, once he became emperor, he quickly cleared up and he proved to be a very successul emperor. He was the one who launched the conquest of Britain, which was very successful for him. Boo, boo. Well, actually, we didn't want the Romans to come,
Actually,
6 of one, half a dozen.
Probably did pretty well, really, out of that one, so...
We didn't want to stay as it was.
Otherwise, mainly it was witches and things running around the place.
Well, I quite liked that, but we weren't very progressive with it. We were bad witches. We were shit witches, quite frankly.
Other people chasing the witches with sticks and things. It was all not a fun place to be.
They sent a lot of elephants over for the conquest of Britain. I think they were called military elephants. I like a military elephant.
Good for you.
He also had 4 wives, which is always a plus. And he's confident now in his old age that his son, Britannicus, will carry on his rule once he has passed.
Do we have to sing that Rule Britannia now or something? Or Rule Britannicus?
Rule Britannius. Britannicus is a man who's 13.
Now, do you think, does Britain come from him, or does he get his name from Britain?
I didn't research that, Nick.
Boo.
There was a lot I had to look at. Well, the whole plan does not sit very well with Claudius's 4th wife, the beautiful, scheming Empress Agrippina the Younger. She is known as ruthless, violent, beautiful, ambitious, and a very reputable woman in Roman history. She actually had a double canine in her upper right jaw, which was meant to be a sign of good luck.
Oh.
She was also one of the only 3 women to be given the title of Augusta, which is possibly the highest honour that a woman could have gotten at the time. So, yeah, and at 39 years old, she had waited a long time to get to where she was.
I know another thing about Agrippina. I can't say her name either.
Should we call her Aggie?
Agrippina. Aggie. Ah, that's a good one.
Aggie. Empress
I know something about Aggie.
Oh, go on then. What about Aggie?
I know she was the sister of Caligula.
She was his
younger sister.
She was quite in his favour for a time. Also his lover, allegedly. Caligula shagged all his sisters and his relatives.
Wasn't he the one who... Oh, no, I was going to say he shagged a horse, but no, he made a horse a senator.
He did make it... Well, allegedly he made a horse senator. He was quite mad, Caligula.
He looks a lot like Malcolm McDowell.
It looks a lot like Malcolm McDowell. interesting fact, actually, the film Caligula, which was a massive flop with Malcolm McDowell in it and Peter O'Toole, the producers were worried that the film wouldn't do well enough and wasn't sexy enough. And they actually hired porn stars.
There's quite a lot of sex in it.
That's because they hired porn stars to have sex in film after hours. They just brought they brought in porn stars to shag on sex sets, so it would look authentic. And half the cast and the producers didn't know about this.
And
it's an awful film. It's an awful film.
Maggie Smith as well, a very young Maggie Smith, going, "What the fuck's going on here?"
And Helen Mirren, isn't it?
Oh, she in it as well.
Yes, I think John Gielgud's in it as well.
Yes, John Gielgud is. Yes,
John Gielgud, Peter O'Toole, everyone's in it, and they all shag.
They're all going, "Why the fuck am I in this film?" Anyway, moving on.
I think John Gielgud said it was his first porn film he'd ever been in. So, yes, she's Caligula's sister, had favour with Caligula, but then she was later accused of plotting to kill her brother with another sister and with a lover of hers. She was exiled. She wasn't executed, obviously. But when Caligula died, when he was assassinated, she was brought back to Rome by her uncle, Claudius, the emperor now. She was much loved and revered by the Roman people. They really liked her. They liked her even more so than Claudius's third wife, the empress Messalina. Aggie had married twice. The first union produced a son, Lucius, and her husband died, sadly. And her second union, her husband died, and she was left a very wealthy woman. Nobody really knows how her husband died, though.
No, what could it be?
But yes, all this misfortune that she'd befallen did make the Romans very sympathetic towards her. And as I said, she was revered, she was very well liked, but she was incredibly ambitious. And so when Messalina was executed for treason in 49 AD, Claudius needed to find a new wife, so he decided to marry Aggie, who was his niece, of course. Just a point, incest was actually frowned upon at the time. They didn't like that. It's not like it's the Romans, anything goes.
Well, it's like uncle niece. That's not incest, really, is it? So
it's a bit.
It's very much so. Back then, it was probably that's like okay, we can cope with this level of.
No, apparently they weren't happy with it. They really did not approve. People did not like the fact that they were moral on some standpoints.
Poisoning, fine. Go with it.
Fine.
Killing everyone, fine.
But she doesn't mind marrying her uncle because now she is empress. And she can continue her plan to secure her own son, to make sure that he, not Britannicus, who is Claudius' son by a previous wife, her son Lucius will succeed to the throne. Lucius, otherwise known as Nero.
I knew that.
Nero!
Points for me.
Emperor Nero. The man who fiddled while Rome burned. Played a fiddle, not just,
Yes. We all got that. Cheap joke.
I didn't. So as soon as Claudius and Aggie were married, she set about and her plan for power. She was wiping out all rivals and enemies to her and her own son's ascension. She charges one of the former love rivals that she had for Claudius's affections of black magic, and she manages to convince the woman to kill herself. She ensures Claudius's daughter Octavia can marry Nero, so solidifying the union a bit more, by accusing one of Octavia's former suitors of incest himself, and that drives him to suicide. She gets rid of anyone who was loyal to the previous empresses, anyone who doesn't have her side, anyone who speaks against Nero or isn't firmly on her side, and she's gently starting to get there. She kills Britannicus' tutor, starts to cut him off from his father, making sure that Nero is very, very firmly in his adopted father's eyes. Claudius does adopt Nero, but he's starting to see through Agrippina's motives. He's feeling uncomfortable, and she notices that he's moving back towards his true son Britannicus and making moves about ensuring that he is going to follow him as emperor. So Agrippina calls on Locusta. So Locusta's reputation has preceded her, and Aggie knows that Locusta is the woman to call upon when you need someone disposing of. Locusta visits Agrippina on a day where the most trusted servants of the household are away. She slips into the building, and there she and Agrippina discuss the methods and means for dispatching Claudius. Agrippina asks her for some rare compound that might derange his mind. So naturally, Locusta wants to create a concoction that will include one of her favourite poisons, belladonna.
Nice.
Belladonna! Yay! Love belladonna. Belladonna is a brilliant poison for anyone who's into their folklore, into their ancient stories like this of poisoning.
It's a very Italian one as well.
There's
a lot in Italian history and things about belladonna. I mean, it's obviously, well, belladonna means beautiful lady, doesn't it?
It does.
That's what they used it to dilate pupils and things.
They do. It still is used in eye drops now because application of belladonna will make your pupils dilate.
But I think
So
probably
the
for
women's
more
would use
medical
it.
purposes rather than anti-pretty.
Exactly, yes. Back then it was used to make people look beautiful and lovely in lots of medicines and lots of beauty treatments, also known as deadly nightshade. Less sexy as a name. Belladonna.
Yeah.
Look at me, I'm a bird of a lady. Deadly nightshade. Oh, shit.
But look, I'm dead.
It's a plant, extremely toxic berries. That's why you don't eat berries in the woods, kids. And when it consumed, it can produce a dreamlike waking state, things like out-of-body experiences, lucid dreams, hallucinations. It's used in some medicines, again, as I said today, to dry up secretions. So I think it's been used in cold medicines. But it can also cause seizures, heart complaints and shortness of breath, and it can also basically kill you.
Do you know where you get atropine from?
It is.
Yes, thought so.
It's atropine belladonna. Is its full name.
That's a fancy medicine. It's used for the cure. It's used to treat poisoning.
Poison to treat the poison? That's
Yeah,
madness! Poison, the greatest poison of them all. Do you want to hear another folklore fact about belladonna?
Tell me.
Belladonna was used in flying ointment. When mixed with opium poppy and other plants like hemlock or monkshood, it helped witches fly to their gatherings.
Oh, well, yes, I've heard this one as well. By putting it on a broom, if I recall.
Pretty much, yes. That would help them fly to their gatherings. Mainly it was made them hallucinate, so they felt they were flying. La,
Yeah.
la, I'm flying! You're really not.
You're
Agatha.
not, dear, you're not. You're in a very comfy chair.
So, belladonna, one of Locusta's favourites, was a favourite amongst other Roman murdering cases. Empress Livia, apparently she allegedly killed one of her husbands with belladonna. So, Locusta has her poison plan, as it were. She supplies the poison to Agrippina, and she says, dust this on his food. So Agrippina goes away and thinks, okay, what's his favourite food? Well, it's mushrooms.
Mushrooms! There we have some mushrooms.
Mushrooms. But not a very exciting food.
I mean, I love a mushroom. I have to say, I'm with the Emperor on that one. Oh, I love a mushroom.
I
Yeah,
mean, I didn't expect you to be so excited about mushrooms.
yeah, not so much the poison ones. Mushroom, love mushrooms. Yum, yum, yum.
So, well, Claudius loves a mushroom himself. Oh,
Excellent.
he loves it. So a grand banquet is held for him.
A mushroom banquet.
Mushroom banquet. There's mushrooms of every
Everything is
kind.
mushrooms.
Everything is made of mushrooms. The table is made of mushrooms. The seats are made of mushrooms. His wife is made of mushrooms. The delicious mushrooms are served to him. It's thought they've either been infused with the poison or a poison sauce has been poured all over
Nice.
them.
Poison sauce. I
Lovely.
like that. A poison jus. A poison reduction.
A poison
A
poolie,
nice
if you
glossy
will.
reduction.
So he's served. Oh, lovely mushrooms, my favourite. Yum 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 yum.
Yeah, yum, yum, yum.
Now the effects of the poison are reportedly not immediately perceptible. Everyone's sitting and waiting. Well, Agrippina and whoever she's got in on her crime.
That's not everyone. So the entire room is just watching him.
Yes, exactly.
Knows all
She's got
about
a room
it, and
full
then
of
just-
people just staring at him.
How are your mushrooms?
Well, it's got to be several people in the room. There's a banquet, and they would wait for the emperor to eat. I mean, it's like the ones who are rubbing their hands together, laughing. Those are the ones to watch out for. The effects don't seem to be showing any, mainly due to the fact that Claudius is wasted. He is completely pissed. Claudius is a complete pisshead at this stage. He's drunk all of his life. He is absolutely out of it. He eats the food, and by all accounts, empties his bowels right there.
Nice.
But no one worries about this, because he's a pisshead. Apparently he does it all the time. Sits there, don't worry, shat myself. Carry on, second course.
Wouldn't it be nice to have servants and slaves? Just deal with that, would you?
Just deal with it, it's fine. He's also said to have become speechless and complained slightly of stomach pains.
I love you. Not as much as mushrooms, but I love you quite a lot.
It's mushrooms. I'm my best friend. He's emperor. Surely he has a taster, though.
One would.
'Cause he's an
One would
emperor,
think so.
He would have a taster.
Is he dead in the background
Has a
somewhere?
taster.
Behind a curtain.
He's not lying on the ground and everyone's just going, he's drunk too. Don't worry, he's passed out.
He's tasted all the booze that the emperor's had. He's absolutely plastered
So
by
the
this
emperor's
point.
had 6 vats of wine. He's like, please, I have a family.
I have a liver. I did once.
No, his taster, the unit is an absolute unit.
Absolute unit, that taster.
And he might get hench.
No,
Might work out to compensate the fact he has no balls. He's sad. And he's eating the whole
maybe in
day.
the gym shower afterwards and going, oh no.
Oh
No balls. Surely he'd just be singing in a choir somewhere. Very
it's
high.
not the time of the Il Castrati. No, that came later.
That came at least 20 years after.
At least
Fine.
20 years, yeah. Anyway, Halotus, the taster. Halotus, interesting person, actually. Outlives everyone in this story. There's not a huge amount written about him and his ways, but he's in so many stories and he seems to outlast people and he's always there. Lives a bloody life of Riley, this eunuch who's been tasting for all these people who end up dead.
You would have thought, probably thinking, yeah, I'm fucking shit at your job, mate. They want bloody dead. So get rid of him, put him in a farm somewhere.
I think it was more the idea that he was in on everything that happened. He was one of the top conspirators and he knew of things, and so he would be able to surreptitiously taste or maybe administer the poison himself. So, but the poison is served, the emperor is there in his own filth, and the poison doesn't seem to be working, at least not to Agrippina's liking. Now, the Roman noble people are very impatient. If it doesn't work instantly, they go mad. Locusta's probably somewhere at a window going, give it a second, for God's sake, not a lawless society. If it's too obvious someone's been poisoned, Locusta's going to jail. Anyone in that room is going to be accused. So she's probably trying to go subtlety. Subtlety is the art of the game here. Agrippina cannot wait. So she calls forth her physician, who was in cahoots with her, Dr. Gaius, and he says the emperor is clearly unwell. He needs to vomit. He needs to purge his stomach of his meal. Help him. And the doctor produces this very handy tool to help you throw up. He pulls out a black feather.
Was it actually black?
Yes. No.
You've made that up.
Yes. Yet again, when I try and add any layer of mystery or lyricism to this story, Nick will surely be there leaning over going, it wasn't, was it?
No. Where was it written down that it was black?
It was red and it had I hate Nick written on it. But he pulls out a feather to tickle the emperor's throat.
That'll do the trick.
This was a marvellous method they used. No, please, to induce vomiting, I shall stick this feather down your throat. The feather is, of course, soaked in poison.
That's clever.
Absolutely bloody drenched in it.
just get it out of a bag, out of a bottle with cyanide written. Big skull and crossbones on a bottle.
The feather just looks like it's charred and smoking. It's like, I don't want it. No, it's fine, honestly. This will help the tickling. They shove this down the emperor's throat. They manage to do it. Come on, be sick, go on. He isn't sick. He dies a short while later.
That's really clever.
It's good, isn't it? But it's
That's
not that subtle, though, is it?
But it's a very clever way of getting the poison in. No one is going to suspect a feather that the doctor uses.
I never thought those words would be
Is it the mushroom? Is it the wine? Is it all the other food? All that sort of stuff? No, it was the feather.
No one ever suspects
the feather.
Nah,
clever.
I mean, if this was a common thing that was done
I think it was.
at the time, like use a feather to induce vomiting.
Yeah, I think it would have been sort of relatively common practice at the time.
But Claudius is dead. He has died. Haha, so the plan continues. Now, Nero is ready to become emperor.
Ooh.
And like his mother, he is power mad. We all know the stories about Nero. Nero goes on to be an incredibly vicious, power crazy emperor. Funny story, he went to Greece later on in 66 AD to perform in the ancient Olympics and took part in every contest and won it.
Oh, what a surprise. He won them all.
What a surprise.
What a surprise that was.
Look at me, discus. I'm the best at discus. Look at me, javelin. I'm the best at javelin. So Nero won the entire Olympics in 66 AD. Nero. What a dick. But someone still stands in Nero's way, even though his path to emperorship seems to be clear. Britannicus, his older half-brother, is still alive, Claudius' son. Nero's very jealous of his brother. He just hates the fact that he's liked. His brother has a beautiful voice. Apparently he tries to seduce him in order to humiliate him. Very schoolboy stuff here. Also, in ancient Rome, like, who cares? It's like, look, he's gay, so...
Yes, indeed.
But Nero himself cannot wait to get Britannicus out of the way, and he too comes to know of Locusta. The woman under sentence, he's told, for poisoning. Locusta by name, with a vast reputation for crime. Locusta at this stage is back in jail. Whether she was convicted of the murder of Claudius or she was arrested on suspicion of it, whether she's just still been killing liberally around the streets of Rome, la la la, throwing belladonna everywhere, she's in jail. I like to imagine Locusta is kind of an old wizened kind of man of the West there going, so you've come to me, have you, Nero? They all come to Locusta in the end. She probably doesn't sound like that.
Maybe, with an Italian accent.
She's from Gaul, so it'd be French, wouldn't it? Or Celtic. Actually, she'd be kind of a weird Germanic, Scottish-Irish sort of thing going on. Nero's just the whole time like, what are you saying?
What are you talking about? It's like that Eddie Izzard sketch with my voice box. It's just gone, stop a demonstration.
Hello, we're the Romans.
We're the Romans.
Romans, we're coming to get you now. See, that's closer to Locusta. I'm the Roman Locusta. She sounds Mexican, actually.
I was going to say, it's got a bit strangely...
We don't know. We don't know what they sounded like.
Italian, Gaulish via Mexico City. Marvellous.
So Nero comes to Locusta and promises her freedom and a pardon if she will do one thing.
What? What is the one thing?
Poison his rival Britannicus.
Is Britannicus now... He's not the emperor now?
No.
Right. So is Nero now the emperor?
No, he's not. There is a sort of a lull at this point before he's officially made emperor, before his coronation. So she has to concoct a poison that will kill his rival. She does provide a poison, but it was slow to work. Again, Locusta probably trying to go for the subtlety. The poison was given, it was slipped to Britannicus' tutors. We don't know if they didn't do it right, if they messed it up, or whether it was too subtle, or Britannicus had eliminated the poison by immediately taking it and throwing up. It doesn't take. Nero returns to the jail and beats Locusta with his own hands, threatening her with execution, saying, you prepared a medicine instead of a poison! But he gives her another chance. Give me a quicker acting poison. She says, fine, I've got one I've used before. But by this stage, she's probably not going away with the subtlety thing. It's like, fine, here's a wheelbarrow full of fucking belladonna. There we go. It's an axe. An axe, that'll do it.
The most poisoned things of them all. An axe.
So she gives him a sack of berries. And Nero goes away, ever the perfectionist, tests it on a goat. The goat dies 5 hours later. Not good enough!
I was to say, that's probably not fast enough either.
No, not fast enough either. She gives him more poison. He tests it on a pig. Piggy falls down dead instantly. Whose farm is this?
Well, you're not going to argue with the crazy emperor, are you?
Hey, Nero, come to get some bacon and some lovely goat's milk. All right, you know where it is. Go around the back. You're all right, aren't you? Okay. What the fuck have you done? That's my livelihood. But he has his fast-acting poison, having left a wake of dead animals behind him. Nero and Agrippina invite Britannicus to a family dinner.
Why would you go? These are not friendly people.
Mother-in-law and my brother-in-law, who's tried to have sex with me several times. Well, maybe tonight's the night. So he goes to this family dinner, and they serve a drink that is common at the time, hot wine. Wine and hot water. Delicious. Now, it was to everyone's taste about how you took your wine. Some people loved it boiling hot, some people liked it kind of lukewarm, some it needed a bit chilled. And Britannicus, who's only 13 at the time, as I said, ripe old age in Roman Empire, he wants a little cold water. My wine is too hot. His taster obliges. He pours in cold water, and his taster, who has tested the wine beforehand, does not test after some cold water has been poured into the glass. And that is where the poison was. In the cold water.
See, again, clever
Locusta.
So she's got some good ideas going on.
She's very good, and wish Nero would stop hitting her when she's trying to show off her art. And Britannicus gulps it down. Apparently the poison cold water circulated so rapidly in his veins that it deprived him of speech. Britannicus starts to suffer from the effects of it. He starts to shake, he starts to convulse. But Britannicus suffered from epilepsy. It was a well-known secret. It was an open secret within the family. And when Nero sees the seizures that his half-brother is affected with, he tells the guests, his brother is just having a fit. Don't send for any help. He's got epilepsy, or whatever they would call it at the time. He's fine. So everyone just carries on with dinner while Britannicus is fitting. And he is taken from the room, and Britannicus dies. The poison reportedly coloured his skin. It said it either coloured it blue or red.
Quite different colours.
There was no definitive answer about whether it was blue or red, because I think people have said it coloured his skin. One writer would say blue, one would say red. We don't know. But either way, it coloured his skin so much that Nero and Agrippina made sure that his face was covered in chalk so no one would know the crime, because it would be an open casket. His body would be taken out. But apparently when he was being buried, rain came down and washed the chalk away. That it had worked, Locusta had succeeded, and she was indeed lavished with a pardon, a large country estates by Nero, handsomely rewarded, a beautiful home which also doubled up as a school. Nero sent her pupils to learn her trade over the years, so she killed herself probably scores of people, but her students would go on to kill thousands.
Well, you've got to think that people like when we did the episode a couple of weeks ago on Tofana,
Absolutely.
That knowledge and those skills come from somewhere. They're descended down the line, passed down word of mouth.
And that's how Locusta would have trained as well. I mean, if Locusta, again, was relying on word of mouth, she would have been learning her trade by hand. This is passed on. She has pupils. These people worked through the Roman Empire. They would have all passed on the trade. It's quite cute to think that Locusta may have been an early ancestor and her methods were passed along down and ended up with Julia Tofana. It's possible. They're in Europe. They're together.
Yeah.
But at the end of the tale, what happened to the three main players in the story? So Agrippina herself suddenly becomes very fearful when she sees what she has created in Nero. When she sees what he has done to Britannicus and how he's starting to treat his wives, the people around him. Agrippina said here was a precedent for matricide. She knows that she's no longer safe from Nero. Nero would later kill his mother. Now, some say he just had her executed. Others, I urge you to look this up. The series of elaborate ruses that Nero tried to set up allegedly to kill his mother is staggering. He constructed a self-collapsing boat. When she was on it, the ceiling collapsed. She and all of her attendants jumped overboard, and there were people apparently lined up trying to hit them with oars and beat their head in. She still managed to escape that. He tried to poison her 3 times, apparently. She took antidotes. He set up a machine in her bedroom to collapse the ceiling tiles on her head while she slept. Eventually just hired an assassin to kill her and stabbed her.
Yeah, some sort of pointy stick would have done the trick, I feel.
Nero was just mental, clearly. She was said to haunt him afterwards. His mother haunted him. And her last words were, "Smite my womb." Nero himself would later flee to Rome in AD 68. Locusta herself provided a poison in a golden box for Nero to take in the event that he was ever captured or if he wanted to commit suicide. He didn't end up taking the poison. He either stabbed himself or had a servant run him through with a sword. And there ended Nero's reign. But Nero's death left Locusta, a professional poisoner, exposed. And his successor, Goba, who was only around for about a year, wanted to wipe Nero's legacy from the face of the earth. He wanted to destroy any freedman or servant who was associated with Nero. He said the other scums that had come to surface in Nero's day he would get rid of. And that included Locusta, and he was going to make an example out of her. So we have to talk about how she died. So she was led through the streets in chains and executed. So she was executed. It's not pleasant, and it's also bizarre. So unfortunately, it was ordered that she would be raped by a trained giraffe.
Yeah.
You have questions.
See, how would you train a giraffe to do anything?
They've just spent years building up. Okay, it's gotten to making tea. Now, to make the leap.
Why a giraffe?
Why a giraffe? There were so many other animals.
Well, absolutely.
I mean, it's a horrible way to go as well. Like, just some bestiality. Imagine hearing that and you're like, oh God, what's it going to be? Is an elephant or a tiger? Oh, I will be ripped. What? What, giraffe? How's that even possible?
Some sort of platform.
Its legs bend in opposite directions. What's it going to do? This poor giraffe does not know what it's doing.
Well, no, probably not.
So allegedly, she was sentenced to be raped by a trained giraffe. It's a horrible, horrible way to go.
We should not be laughing at that.
I'm not making light of the torments, but the giraffe. But come on,
it is a peculiar punishment.
It's a bit weird. She was then allegedly torn apart by wild animals. I think the actual truth was she was probably just executed. She was either hanged or stabbed or burned, which is a much nicer way to go. And there it is. It's the galloping hooves of the giraffe.
My God, that's an end to a story.
We leave the tale of Locusta, the first serial killer in history.
To be raped by a giraffe.
Yes. It's not a pleasant image to end
No,
on.
really, really not.
Giraffes, the greatest poisons of them all. I mean, who goes to that Colosseum show? It's like, what is it today? Oh, is anyone being eaten by Christians? No. Oh, it's a giraffe. What the hell is he doing?
Did you say, is anyone being eaten by Christians?
Yeah, it was a big show at the time. Why do you think they had to get the lions to come and get the Christians? The Christians were eating everyone. Just nibbled to death by Christians. Get the giraffe in, they're going too far. Oh, how would you do that? How would you train a giraffe?
Perhaps it was lots of men in a giraffe costume. Perhaps they were just like, the crazy emperor has gone, right, I need to train a rapey giraffe. And the sort of like the animal handlers were like, okay, hell. Well, that's just not going to work. So we hollow out a giraffe.
Or the one guy who's sewing a giraffe outfit going, oh God, oh God.
Exactly. So it's like, right, everyone, get in the giraffe.
And like the first time he comes out, they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Steve, hold the stilts up, come on. I mean, this emperor was only around for a year, and I think we know why. So there we go. So there was the sad end of Locusta, who'd had a very good career otherwise.
Yeah.
She's a mysterious figure, isn't she? We just don't know. She was written about, and her story became very much folklore, even by the historians who all wrote at the time. They had enough facts that they could talk about her, but she, even in those writings, was something of a mystery.
Yeah.
She was almost like a plot device, you know.
It's probably one of those people who may well have been like a composite of lots of people.
It's interesting that we have these really famous professional poisoners, and they're all women.
Well, yes. But is it the sort of thing that women are they inherently more trustworthy? I suppose if it's especially when we're dealing with foods and things like that, is a woman more likely to be like in the kitchen, or probably at the time a maid or something like that, who would be serving these things, so would have more access to poison food? Or
later on, certainly that would be the case, but back in the Roman Empire, you had boys and you had men serving, you had people of all sexes. I suppose the women, because they were owned by their husbands, they could own their own property, but they didn't have as many rights as others, so their trade would be study medicines, learn this kind of thing. So they were more likely probably to have the education and the practice and the pastime to pick belladonna, to understand what it could do, to experiment, to test things. It does make you think, like, you know, obviously Locusta killed a lot of people and was arrested a lot, but how much experimenting did she do? And where did she come from? Maybe that's why we don't know where she came from, because she killed everyone. Maybe she killed her whole family. She killed people in the past just testing out these poisons, because you'd have to work out how they work.
It's one of those things, as I said before, it's just been passed down, probably. All this knowledge about local plants. And it probably, at the time, it wasn't just, okay, these are the ones that are going to kill you, but these are the ones that are going to help as well. These are cures for things.
Yeah.
So it's that sort of plant knowledge and things. But she's just obviously chosen to focus on the more negative and spiky plants.
Indeed. But there we go. Roman Empire, fascinating part of history. So many poisons and murders and crazy schemes going on at that time. It's just brilliant.
If you have enjoyed our latest tale of deadly poisonings and our cocktails as well, please do jump on iTunes, leave us a review on Facebook, come and say hello. We love to hear from you.
And if you have any shout-outs that you want to do during this time of isolation, in lockdown, obviously it's a crazy, crazy time out there. We were just thinking, if you listen to the podcast, we love you and appreciate you so much for showing us your support during this time. What can we do to support you? So, you know what, if you've got messages for people you love, or if you've got a business you're running, or if you've got something small or wonderful that you want to celebrate and do something positive about, or give a shout out to a key worker or just a family member you can't see right now, leave us a message on Instagram, or just drop us a message on Instagram, drop us something on Facebook. Tell us something and we will try to mention them in our next few episodes and give some love to everyone out there who deserves a bit of love right now. Yeah, and as ever, tell your friends about the Poisonous Cabinet. Great time to share podcasts. Go follow podcasts, download us. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. And if you want more live videos of us drinking, obviously just tell us to do that, because, why not, indeed?
Yes, indeed. Many random videos of us drinking coming soon.
So as ever, we have been the people inside the Poisoner's Cabinet. We will see you next week, and remember, your loved ones are trying to kill you.
Bye!